Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I know you love these two-piece sets you can see here. So I'll be doing a video showing us how to make these two-piece sets. So if this is something you're interested in, please keep watching and do not forget to like, subscribe and share. Let's jump right into the tutorial. So guys, this is the fabric we will be working with. This is an Adire print about 3 yards. I would recommend using a minimum of 3.5 years because I literally struggled to use this fabric. So yeah, the next thing we are going to be doing in this video is to be drawing out the line from which I will be placing my measurements. So I'm just going to make a straight line on the top of this fabric that is already folded into two. So we already know we fold our fabrics into. So if you've been watching my videos, you should know. So the next thing I would do is to input my waistline measurements. And because this is going to be a free pant, and I want to add a band at the top, I would be coming down by 1.5 inches. So the 1.5 inch will be for the band. I'll be passing an elastic through it. So I've done that line here. And then the next thing I will do is to take my measurements from the waist to the hip points. I'm going to just mark down the waist to the hip points, and then my waist to hip point is about 9 inches. And then the next thing I would do is to mark from my waist to my crouch line depth. So my crouch line is 11 inches. I used 11 inch because this is going to be a high waist trouser. So yeah, I did 11 inches. You can see I'm going ahead to mark this out here. And then the waist to the hemline, that's like the waist to the length of the trouser I'll be working with. Yeah, so here I'm just going ahead to include my waist to crotch points. Remember, I said that the waist to crotch points is 11 inches and the waist to the hip points is 9 inches. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do is now to do the waist to the um, hem. That's the length of the trouser. And for this trouser, I used about 40 inches. So you can make yours longer if you want your trouser to like really flow on the floor. So I used 40 inches for this, and yeah, that's just basically what I did here. So now the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do is to now include my body measurements here on this point. So guys, because this is going to be a free pants, the measurement I have on my hip and my crotch is the same measurement I'm going to use as my waist measurements. So what I did was that I added 4 inches to both my hip and waist measurements. Do you understand? 4 inches. Initially, my waist measurements are divided into four, then plus extra 4 inches because it's supposed to be a free pants. And so I will just go ahead and put the mark there. And then also, because it's the same measurement, I did the same thing for the hip, for the waist point. So you can see waist and this hip, waist and hip points, the same measurement. Then for the crotch points, I divided this my waist measurement into four and divided that same measurement into four again. So I had about 2.5 inches for the depth, for the curve I would be creating for the crouch point. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark out 2.5 inches. So this is where my curve is going to be coming from. I'll make a curve from that 2.5 inches up to the measurement for the hip. You can see I'm just going to go ahead and do this. And the next thing I'm going to do now is take the measurement at this my crotch point. Remember, it's going to be a very free pant. So the measurement I have here is 16 inches. So what I did was take out this 16 inches, mark a point there, and use the same 16 inches downward to the end of the fabric. 16 inches, the measurement I have on my crotch points, I use that measurement down to the end of the fabric. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut it out for us to see what it looks like. So this is what it looks like after taking out the extra inches in front. So I'm going ahead to cut out the side of the fabric. Remember, I still have extra by the side. So I'll just go ahead and cut it out for it to be just the front piece that we would be working with for this tutorial. So please keep watching. So this is what we have left. This is what the front piece looks like. I'll be using my pins to hold it down so that I can use it to cut out the back piece. So the difference between this front piece and the back piece is that since I have drafted this, it makes it very easy. All I have to do is fold the back piece also into two and place this fabric on it. So here you can see I have gone ahead to place the front piece on the fabric I'll be using for the back piece. And the only thing I'll be doing now is to add about 2.5 or 3 inches allowance to the front of this fabric towards where the crouch point is. You can add to the back so that works. So I'll just go ahead and mark this point, 2.5 inches. You can use 3 inches. So I'll mark this here and then come down to mark it around the crotch point also because I want to have an even measurement. So when this is done, I'll just draw my new curve for the back piece so that I can easily cut it out when I am trying to cut. So after doing this, I would go upward. Remember, because we have butts, so the back part is usually higher than the front of the fabric. So I would go upward by about 2 inches. You can go upward by about 3 inches also. So I'll just go upward by about 2 inches, and then when that is done, I would draw a curve. I'll draw a curve connecting the points, and then I would go ahead to cut it out carefully, following the what's it called, the lines that I cut out area. So please just go ahead and keep watching. So here I'm just going ahead to cut out the fabric. I'll just trace this out and we are good. That's basically it for the back, for the drafting of the front and the back piece. So the next thing we would be doing after this is showing us how to join this fabric that we have successfully drafted out. Don't forget we'll be attaching the pockets to this and I will be showing us all of this in this tutorial. Now, this is what the fabric looks like after I have gone ahead to draft it out. So this is the front piece and this is the back piece. I'm just going ahead to like do something to indicate so I don't miss it up. So this is what we have. You can see that the back piece is longer and taller than the front piece. But when we join it, you won't even notice this difference. So now I'm going to go ahead and join this crotch points. And then you can see I've joined these crotch points and this is what we have. Just the crotch points that I joined. I would do the same thing on the back piece. And I will be attaching a pocket to this. Apologies, I did not make a video when I was cutting out this pocket. But please go ahead and when you're trying to draft out this pocket, make it a 7 by 14 inch. For this tutorial, I didn't have enough fabric left. Remember when I said you should try to make sure you have enough fabric. So my pocket is not as deep as I wanted it to be, but 7.5, 7 and 14. So you now join this side, do the same thing on the other side, place it there, do it on the other side, then you bring it back for us to see what we have. So this is what I have done, and this is what it looks like after I have joined the parts. So now to join the sides of this trouser, I'm just going to sew from this end round to this other end and take it downwards straight to the end of the trouser. I'll do it and bring it for us to see. So I've gone ahead to do this, and now the crouch point. Holding it this way, I'm going to sew from one end to the other end, just like this, one end to the other end, and I'll bring it for us to see. So this is what it looks like. I've gone ahead to sew both ends, and here the next thing we'll be doing is to cut out our band, because you can see here that I have already joined it. So I would take the measurements of my waist. It should be around 52 inches, because remember I added 4 inches extra. So when you open it, it's like 8 inches. So I have already gone ahead to do this, and I will just take the round measurement, which should be about 52 inches, and I will cut out a waistband that is this inches long, like 52 inches long. And after I had gone ahead to cut out this waistband, I would make sure that the waistband I am cutting is about 4 inches wide, so that, and when I put it on fold, it's going to be about 2.5 inches. Then I'm going to stitch the midpoint of the waist part and then leave a hole in the middle. So it's in that hole I'll be passing my elastic through at this midpoint. I will leave a hole where my elastic can pass through. And my elastic is about 1.5 inches wide. So I've gone ahead to attach the waistband to the trouser, and I would be using this elastic that is about 1.5 inches wide. So now to achieve my actual waist measurement, I would be taking 4 inches off my actual waist measurement. So my waist measurement is 31. So for the sake of this tutorial, I would be using about 27 inches for the elastic. You know it's an elastic, so it stretches. And after that is done, I'll just cut this out and then use my safety pin to pass it through that hole that I created earlier. So guys, keep watching. So yeah, I'm just going ahead to pass the elastic through this points that I created earlier. And after I pass this through from one end to the other end, be careful so you don't fall the elastic completely inside the trouser. So I would pass this, and then there would be like a small elastic remaining at the end, and I will stitch it together. So this is what I have after passing this elastic through. And you can decide to use a lace into this. So I had one spare lace, and I, just for the sake of this tutorial, I decided to use this lace and pass it through this trouser. I also used my safety pin to pass it through. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this for us to see what it looks like if you decide to have a lace or a rope. You could use your Ankara if you have enough fabric. You could use your Ankara to make a rope and pass it through this. And yeah, that's basically it for this tutorial. So I'm just going to top stitch the waistband, and our Ankara trouser is ready. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. You can see how beautiful, how cute this trouser came out. And if you would like to do this, or if you try this and it comes out really nice, please don't forget to let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in my next tutorial. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and share. Bye, lovelies.